All right. So yes, as you say, we have SlappyDavis v Drawnonward in platinum, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, platinum.
All right, let me set my little thingy up here.
Yeah, and
So
let's talk a little bit about these two players while you're setting up. SlappyDavis, even though he's one of the best players in Plat, pretty much year in and year out, one of the lowest mission win percentages of basically any spy in the whole upper half of SCL, 5.26% last year, close to a third as high as it was in Plat on average. Doesn't time out either. He kind of goes all out. He will try to get a civilian shot. He will usually succeed, but if the civilian doesn't get shot, he will.
And Drawnonward right now, sitting at the very top of the Spy Party leaderboard with KCM. Just the other day, they both played their 20,000th game of Spy Party together.
Yeah.
Both hit 20,000 on the same game.
Yeah, they've both been up over 19,000 for a little while now, and at a certain point they kind of coordinated and said, you know what, wouldn't it be cool if, we made sure this lined up and we played our 20,000th game together. They're obviously old friends. They were sparring partners long before I ever joined, and both tremendous players and great guys, and just a super, super cool thing for them to coordinate that.
Interesting thing about Drawnonward, basically whenever he plays Spy Party outside of a competitive setting, he is on the mic with his opponent, having fun, talking trash, and generally playing mind games of a more verbal variety than SlappyDavis, but that's not something that can happen in a competitive setting. So it's a little bit interesting to see how Drawn plays in these situations when he's a little bit out of his comfort zone.
And we're going to see where that happens. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead, and then we'll pick some bands.
You're right. So he does talk like that, but it's not really a mind game thing. It's just a conversational thing. It's how he likes to play. For him, it's a very social game, and you're right. Yeah. It's actually a very different experience. SCL, not really his style, really, because he likes to explore the game space and chat about it. Obviously, in competitive, even people who like Drawn very much, which is most of the people he plays, they're not normally going to be in a chatty mood. They might talk about it afterwards, but you're not going to be sitting there in game room 1 in the Discord during an SCL match talking about it during the game.
And with that, let's get into our picks and bans. Drawnonward starts the festivities off by banning the newest map, Modern, any 5 of 8. SlappyDavis responds with what I think folks can guess as Balcony, any 2 of 3. Any comments on the bans before we head into the picks?
Drawn really likes Balcony.
I'm
not at all surprised to see it gone.
Yeah, Drawn, definitely one of the stronger Balcony players out there.
Yeah, he's played a billion games of Balcony, so get
Literally
that out of there. Yeah.
He's played 20,000 games of Spy Party, and a billion of them have been on Balcony.
Think about how incredible that is.
That's what we call efficiency, kids. All right, Drawnonward starts things off again for the second time, sure, by picking my personal favorite map layout in this tournament, High Rise any 3 of 5 to be the doubled map of his choice. SlappyDavis goes ahead and responds with the doubled map Library, any 5 of 8. Drawnonward goes ahead and picks a Courtyard, and finally Slappy finishes things off with my other favorite map, Pub, any 4 of 7.
This makes perfect sense for Drawnonward. You're not giving me Balcony? That's fine. I'll take another Softail map. This time it's going to be High Rise any 3 of 5. And we haven't seen that one yet this evening, and it's fun.
Yeah.
Very standard here. If High Rise gets banned, you pick Balcony. If Balcony gets banned, you pick High Rise. Almost always that's being banned because the player in question likes Softail variants, and there are 2 of them. And I like that, by the way, that you can't ban them completely. You can just cut down on them a little bit. There's really nothing cagey about this. Not only did Drawn know he was going to ban Balcony, but Slappy knew he was going to pick High Rise as a response.
Yeah, I really like High Rise because I think the cutting missions meta very interesting. There are 8
the decision making there is big.
Yeah, there are 8. For those who don't know, there are 8 missions available on High Rise normally, but since this is any 3 of 5, the spy has to pre-declare 3 missions to bring it down to 5. The missions that they are not going to do. So we'll get into that when we start the map, which I say should be right now.
Agreed! Game number 1, we've got Drawn Onward on the Spy, and the missions that are cut, we've got no swap, we've got no inspect, and we've got no transfer microfilm. So the missions available are Bug, Contact, Seduce, Purloin, and Fingerprint.
All right, I will leave this in your capable hands.
Get this match underway. Last one of the evening. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I think Wachaj is banned by another name, but you do you.
Which bam?
Which bam, yeah. It's just another way of saying bam.
A great many things are.
Instant green purloin.
Green purloin. Back conversation. There's the take. Did you see the fade?
I
don't think he knows on the fade.
It was the hat again. Wait till you see this replay. That hat. That freaking hat. Getting innocent people shot left and right. Potentially.
No bullet this time. I don't know if he knows who the reject was. He's getting a lot of lowlights here. Does have drawn highlight.
I think he's got it down to 2, but
yeah.
The fact that he's not sure about that fade, you can blame it on the hat. Oh my goodness.
I think he's got it down to 3. We've also got Carlos in there.
Yeah. Could be.
That is not bad.
I am really excited for you guys to see this replay. It's a thing of beauty on the replay sniper cam, the way the hat cuts right in front.
All right.
So here's the question. Will those 2 other characters, maybe 3 if you count General, how spy-like are they going to be for you? And if you're drawn, do you notice? Do you notice who it was? Were you paying attention?
Keep in mind, we may only have soft tells left. We've got the flirt, and we can do a contact, maybe a fingerprint, although probably not a fingerprint because that's spooky. So it's probably going to be contact and flirt.
And if you're drawn, you really, really need to do the contact with people in conversation. At minimum, you need to know who that green purloiner was and make sure they're in it. He can't necessarily know that General and Slim are suspects there, but you should definitely know who the green purloiner is and make sure they are in a conversation with a DA, possibly the same conversation as you, to really try to frustrate them.
And luckily enough, that green purloiner, I believe, was Duke.
Yes, right. So still active.
Seduction target.
Yep, but not doing anything right now. You really want Duke to come back over and make this. You don't want this to slip away.
1 minute left to play. We do have to find a couple of flirts off of him still.
Well, or the BB is just going to make him shoot. He has to shoot at some point after the BB. How can he not credit flirts at this point in the game? There it is. It knocks out 1 suspect.
Duke talking as well.
I'm amazed he hasn't shot here. Wow.
There's the shot.
And it's General instead. One of the ones who wasn't even highlight originally got highlight 20 or 30 seconds later.
Yeah.
So straight up, just more or less guy with the purloin. Please check the beginning of this from the replay sniper cam. I love Slappy is actually on it. He does his job. He's watching the take very closely. But the hat. Look at the hat. Look at the hat.
Oh my
Frame by frame. Look at the scrub. Oh my goodness. I love this game. I love it. I mean, I love it because that wasn't happening to me, but that is a thing of beauty.
You can't write stuff like this. That is out of a cartoon.
The highlight of the evening, Carlos's hat. 2 different games.
This is amazing.
Checker, please nerf the hat.
Oh my god. All right. Wow.
Ugh.
And Drawn starts off strong.
HATOP.
All right. Let's see what Slappy can do on the spy side here. Drawn on the sniper, no transfer, no swap, no fingerprint. So same setup as last time, except instead of the fingerprint available, we have the inspect available in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I'd rather turn off something like Purloin and leave Fingerprint and Inspect on. It maximizes the number of AIs who probably could have completed missions. I understand it's risky to go to statues, but at the very least, you can see who's been there, who could have completed them, and it gives you the option. It makes it easier to figure out who you could frame.
That's the great thing about modes like any 3 of 5. There's so much interesting play even before the game starts.
Yeah, it's about the high-level decision-making, and frankly, that, to me, is always the best part of Spy Party, when the high-level decision-making is married to the low-level micro-execution.
Very slow start from SlappyDavis, but on a map like this, you've got so much time that you can usually afford to.
Oh yeah, you can kill a lot of time here, and that's even if you want to complete missions. If you are leaning already to trying to get someone else shot, you really don't need to be doing much of anything right now.
This is very true. That was
you just need to be
weird path on the way in, looking for the double agent, who immediately bails.
Yeah, and while Slappy, obviously a great player, I would say among top players, a little less concerned with things like micropathing and things like that. And if you know your opponent well enough, you wouldn't necessarily...
Oh! The plays!
Fake banana bread.
The shot!
And it works. Oh my goodness.
SlappyDavis! The fake banana bread after the double agent leaves the conversation knew for a fact, look at this, knew for a fact that there was the suspected double agent had to be in the other conversation. Had to be. Because the only person out of conversation when the real double agent left his was the ambassador, and the suspected double agent cannot be in the same conversation as the real double agent.
Yeah. And the seduction target too. Yeah.
The freaking plays on this man, that was so sick.
Now, it's a good move, although I'm surprised it worked so effectively. So Drawn, playing a very behavioral game, he'd highlight Boots, but not because she went to center statues and could be done. He highlighted her for an early talk. I think he's trying to flirt pair her, perhaps. I think in this case, it just happened to work really well with somebody Drawn was already into for behavioral reasons.
Wow. All right. It's 1-1. Fireworks. Drawn stepping back into the spy side. Slappy on the sniper. No transfer, no swap, no inspect. Once again, in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I really think that was just, it was a perfectly good move by Slappy, but I really think Drawn was just sort of bit by the behavioralism there. He paired Boots with somebody as a possible flirter, I think, early highlight, and then the BB thing just plays right into it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've acquired the worst possible flirt in the entire game. It's a far right for 17%.
But on this mode, it's fine. In fact, if anything, you can make a decent argument that this is good. It doesn't look like you're flirting at all, but you still make a little bit of progress in a mode where you have more than enough time to finish. I have no problem with it. I gotta say, if I were walking up into a conversation with the seduction target early in this game on high rise like this in a 3-5 mode, I wouldn't stand next to them, I don't think. I would stand closer, to be fair, so that maybe a green would get me 30 or something like that. But I would not necessarily sidle right up.
Banana bread.
Oh, no! No, double agent! What? It looked like he was in conversation, but he was going for the briefcase, which made the contact fake.
It did make the contact fake, but you know what? Only one person was out. It might work fine as a frame.
It might.
This is the map where things like that are not necessarily a big mistake.
Oh, boy. And now we're not being suspicious at statue because there's no inspect and no swap.
Yeah, very interesting to turn those off. I do understand turning them both off, though. To basically take statues out of the game entirely, give yourself a place to go to sort of, take off suspicion along with microfilm, only there for fingerprints. But here's the thing, if you're not tracking them for other reasons, it can be very easy to forget to track them for fingerprint, too.
Drawn playing this very slowly at this point. Hasn't done... Well, it's gotten another flirt, up to 34% at this point, but... not much going on the spy side. 1:25 left to play. I think Drawn's just going to try to frame.
Banana bread.
There's the real contact coming off, so I might stand corrected here.
2 highlights knocked out. That's brutal.
Yeah, that was a rough one.
Now, so here's what's man. What's interesting about this is that normally you would think if inspects were on, maybe be paying more attention to who's going and you have a better sense of who has highlights and who doesn't. You can time your banana bread better, but without those involved, a little harder to say.
Yeah, this is very true. 45 seconds left to play. Still need 2 flirts and something. I don't think Drawn is going to try to finish here.
No, and I don't think Slappy looks very comfortable right now. The party has actually been pretty easy to manage. Those 2 big highlights getting knocked out, really big. I think at this point he feels like he's in control of this party, and he is.
Yeah, I agree. This is really rough for Drawn.
And look at this, and this is perfect if you're Slappy. The Amba is off on the far side of the map, all alone. If anyone wants to make a run and bug, he's gonna see him coming a mile away.
Indeed. Innocent wants check at the front. 10 seconds left in overtime territory. I think Slappy has this game won.
Yeah, and Drawn's just going to be willing to time out.
And there it is. Drawn, by the way, one of the players in this game who are most willing to time out as Spy.
Yeah, he didn't time out too often last year, but nobody did. He only did twice all year, but one of them was on Double Modern, a map like this, a 3-5 variant, in fact, and it was against me, if you must know.
Yeah.
I don't mind it, so when you're playing a few games like this, you have to be willing to time out sometimes. You really do.
Yeah.
It's not ideal, but you have to be willing to do it.
Yeah, if you never time out, then you're giving the sniper too much to work with.
Yeah, they'll just sit on it.
Yeah.
I think, let's be honest, the real mistake he made was in playing the guy with the hat rather than have him walking around blocking things.
You're not wrong. All right. SlappyDavis on the Spy side playing to go up 3-1. Drawnonward on the sniper. In 3, 2, 1, playing it. You don't want to be playing from behind on your own map.
No, you really don't. And Slappy has a chance to go into commanding position and then have his maps coming up big. Gotten through the Softail gauntlet here with at least a split. That's definitely the outcome you wanted.
Well, it worked for Nonetheless.
That's true. It doesn't always turn out the way you think, does it?
Indeed. SlappyDavis starting things off with a single inspect at the far statue. Interestingly enough.
I like it, especially against someone like Drawnonward. He finds highlighting for statues boring, and he's not wrong. But there's a reason it's boring. It's boring because it's done by almost everyone, and it's done by almost everyone because it's clearly effective. In this case, in this mode, with inspects on, not being confident of who could have completed inspects could be rough, particularly if Slappy plans to finish. At an early statue visit in this mode, probably means he does.
Drawn has always had very fluid lights, though. Like, he has a very specific way of playing sniper that nobody else can even decipher at this point. So I feel like, why go away from what you know? Play your own game.
Yeah, he can, but he's gonna have to have an exceptional memory then, because you really do need to know who could be done with that mission.
Red test flirt, by the way, that's sad.
That is sad, and you can get away with it on this map. There's a lot of time to get those flirts done, but you've just used up a lot of your margin, especially if they don't come back soon.
That's not a fingerprint, and he gets low-lit because it's not a fingerprint!
Wow. That's big. Now here's the question, though. Could Slappy have reasonably guessed that? Did he do it specifically to get the low light? If he did, he could just kind of try to rampage through missions now.
It's also very possible that he did it because he thought there was a print on it.
Yes.
But fingerprint's off! What am I talking about?
Yeah. Here we go. This is a big one.
Banana bread.
There's the contact coming off. Drawn is one of the people who can bring someone back up from a low light fairly easily.
And even if he wasn't, this is the kind of mode where anyone would be more likely to as well. It's a nice manageable party. It's a Softail variant. But that red flirt now is really hurting him. If he'd gotten a flirt off, then he'd be in a totally different position.
It's another red flirt. He's trying to frame.
Yep, that's what it is. He did this to me. He did this to me in one of our SCL matches last year. I remember he was rocker on Ballroom, and I think his ST was one of the twins, and he tried to red flirt them into a shot. It did not work, by the way. But he's trying it again here. This is a slappy move.
Tactic.
I have seen him do this before. I don't know. I think it makes a lot more sense in this mode than the one he tried it against on, which was a normal 4 of 8 on ballroom.
But there's only 30 seconds left to play. This is rough.
I think if it hasn't happened yet, it's probably not going to, and you need to realize that right now and try.
Agreed.
But what's it going to be? It's got to be inspect
Slappy
bug.
Statues at the end. Not even what?
No, not even going to do it.
He
It's going to bug and
does
purloin.
get the bug.
Oh, bug and timeout?
Oh, that's not a bad. We're
And
on a
Drawn
bad
doesn't see it.
now.
I don't care how fluid your lowlights are. If you didn't see that, now he must have seen it.
Oh god! Oh god! He accidentally bailed on the time man.
This Drawn was absolutely handing him that game. You could say fluid lowlights, and that's often true. But here's the thing: he left those statues, and Drawn did not, and he bugged, and Drawn did bat an eye. He was not looking at that low.
Yeah,
he was not ready to bring that guy back up. He could have, if he just bugged, gotten rid of the drink and purloins, whatever. That's gonna work.
Oh, that is a brutal finish. Stepping away before the time ad comes off. That's that. Oh man.
Yeah, I really don't get it. Particularly with the early statue visit. The early statue visit doesn't really make sense to me if you're going for a frame. Might have changed his mind after the red flirt, unless the red flirt. That's the question, right? Were all the red flirts deliberate, or was it after the first one he decided, well, I've already done it once. Let's feed into that.
Either way, we're heading in to the library next, which is almost a polar opposite of this. Drawn.
Well, we're all tied up. Yeah. we're all tied up. Drawn, really, you got to think should have lost that game. It was actually, so we say we like it when it's punch counter punch, when someone plays great and the other person just plays a little bit better. You got to be honest, with all due respect to both great players, that was more like who wants to lose this more.
Yeah,
they both made a lot of effort to lose that game.
That was a rough one. It's got to be said.
Yeah, it was a very rough game. Obviously, the low light mistake, and Slappy just did not capitalize it at all. And at the end, he had so many opportunities.
But we are, in fact, all tied up heading in to the library. One of the most interesting maps as far as the spy side goes, because of the amount of opportunities you are afforded. Drawnonward is going to be the first to be able to take advantage of them. In 3, 2, 1, play it.
Two interesting things to note about this.
Early bug is one of them. That's one of the interesting things. A very fast bug in the time of
pretty interesting. As unconventional as he might be on the sniper side, Drawn is actually very straight on the spy side. He plays a nice, clean game, and he's very good at pacing. He does not time out much because he makes nice, steady progress the whole way. There are games I have been way behind on, and I've managed to pull them out simply because I played Drawn enough to know he's going to be done. You can usually bank on him being done unless you're playing, mind games on balcony. So I want to see what he does with his decision making on a big map like this, where you have to make that kind of steady progress to get it done. On the sniper side, I want to see what he does with behavioralism on a map like this, which is not set up for it at all. You might not like statue visit highlights and things like that, but boy, it's really hard not to do something like that on this map.
Drawnonward, after that early bug, gets in a flirt for 34% and is now at green bookcase, doing a little bit of light reading. Doesn't do anything with that book, though. Looks like he wants to chase the seduction target for another flirt. Seduction target's not really cooperating for it, though.
One thing I always find interesting is when a spy sort of does the things that they would find innocuous, like taking a book out like that and putting it back. That's the kind of thing Drawn would notice in maybe low light 4, so it's the kind of thing he does here. The question is, Drawn, is Slappy the same kind of sniper you are? I would say no.
Nobody's the same kind of sniper that Drawn is.
That's true, and Slappy in particular, less of that kind of sniper, maybe even than your average sniper.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that. 2 minutes and 10 left to play. Not a whole lot of not a whole lot done after that start, and Drawn knows it and adds 45 seconds to the clock.
Yeah, walking away by the time the camera swung over on the sniper side. Don't really think it was seen with any confidence.
In the end of red.
Fake contact, interestingly enough, to cover for the purloin. It is a white test. Running away with it into the yellow bookcase. This looks clean.
I think so. I think so. Slappy just keeps barely missing these things, swinging over right after the time ad and the purloin. I think Drawn is timing these really, really well.
Agreed. Another innocent book read, this time steps away with it. Might be able to do something with that book later on. He steps in the conversation with the real double agent and gets his contact off.
In the end of red.
One of the big potential highlights from the purloin is now gone.
That's a big one. Slappy takes a couple of hard low lights and a couple other more speculative ones that he could not have seen, but decides to take the chance. And I think that's right. He has too many suspects right now. It's late enough in the game, and he is behind. He doesn't necessarily know it, but it is the right choice to make those aggressive low lights right now.
Drawn just putting this book back innocently again.
So this is tricky. I understand putting the book back innocently, but he's put the book back innocently at two different bookshelves now. So the sniper might remember him being at both anyway. So I'm not even sure how innocuous that is. If you really want to go that route, you do it again with another green shelf.
Center statues is enough for a shot. And Slappy, I don't think he was that well on to Drawn just by the way he was playing the second half of that, but got worried enough at the end that he was able to take the correct shot from Drawn's decision to go to center statues.
Well, I mentioned earlier that if you're convinced you're behind late in the game, you can just say a spy would go to center statues with, less than 90 seconds, right? Something like that. This is the kind of thing a spy would do. It would banana bread here, etc. Center statues is a big example of that. Now, this is where the limits of casting Spy Party are very evident, because it's entirely possible that he was onto him with the purloin more than we thought, or saw something else that we didn't. But
I mean, it's
our best guess.
Oh, sorry, I was going to say it's entirely possible Slappy caught the bug. It's pretty visible at the beginning. If Slappy had quick eyes, you can see on the screen.
Yeah, it's possible. I would say at that point,
I don't think he did.
I would guess not, for the only reason that he knows the banana bread's gone off too, and he sees that the purloin is gone, and at that point, you're in range to have missed enough, even watching that person.
I don't know.
But it could be either way.
I was going to say, Drawn got immediately highlight after the bug.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it could just be a possibility. Yeah. Like it could be highlight for could have bugged. I think it's a perfectly reasonable guess. But it's hard to say, right? Because that shot fits a few different narratives. It fits I saw the bug. It fits I'm behind and I'm taking a desperate shot. And it fits I actually think I know who did the purloin. It fits all those things.
Indeed. So that means I need to get better. I need to stop drawing on the thing. Installing the Telestrator was like the best and the worst idea. All right, anyway, continue.
All right. So, next game, this time, I believe I have the right one. Slappy on the spy, Drawn on the sniper, library round 2.
Yep.
Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah, I have SlappyDavis as Andrew Ryan. Yes, cool.
Perfect. Let's get this thing going in 3, 2, 1, playing it. Starting things off at statues, unusually enough.
Yeah, you don't see that too often. Not center statues either.
Gets the pair of inspects for it. Green swap and steps away. That is an unusual decision. What a weird start to the game.
I don't love it, but I will say this. I love it way more against someone like... there are games where a swap will happen in the middle of the game, and Drawn will go the rest of the game and not even notice it sometimes. It's just he just plays a different game. He's noticing all sorts of things you aren't, but there is a trade-off to it. He is much easier.
Drawn not looking.
Much easier to get hardtails by.
Now sees it.
Oh, he'll highlight for that. Drawn, you might not like highlighting people and statues in general, but you'll highlight for that here on Library, for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think Slappy's in big trouble now. At this point, you're basically hoping that your green swapper helps you out, because Drawn actually is on in this case.
Yeah. It's certainly something you can get away with against Drawn, but it didn't happen this time.
Yeah, I think it's much more powerful against someone like Drawn in the... because he can't just use those highlights to fall back on. He can't say, well, even if he misses it, he can't just say, well, it's one of the highlights. He's really got to work that memory and make some difficult choices.
So, how do we move forward from here as SlappyDavis? We're probably pretty sure we're under the gun at this point.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what the game plan was here. Again, I understand the idea of kind of a brazen swap against Drawn. I just don't understand it at the very beginning, unless you're just committed to saying, well, look, I hope I hit a green and someone picks it up, and I'll just know who it is and try to frame them.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then, you still need a little cooperation. Oh, you're getting a little bit of it there, though.
Center statues for Papa Danger, though.
That's a little cooperation, but, really, the big moment's going to be the banana bread. And you're clearly not paying attention to who the swap was now if you're doing that.
Oh, God. Slap. No. Why?
I mean, there's only two things I could think of here. One is it was supposed to be a white swap, and you hope he didn't really notice. But you just sort of hit the green by accident.
Yeah, but then you gotta still look at who green swaps, though.
I mean, maybe I'm missing something obvious, but it really just feels like a kind of weird, impulsive decision, rather than like an actual game plan.
Well, we're tied up at 3 for the last pair of games on the library. Drawn on the spiral, Slappy on the sniper. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And if you're Slappy, this is your pick, and you just gave Drawn a really easy game.
Purloin, white test, run, leave, get away.
And Slappy is highlighting people on that general side of the map because it was so quick, and he has narrowed it down pretty well. He's got it down to 3 or 4. Yeah. And that now having it down to 3 or 4 on something like, I don't know, ballroom or courtyard, that's not going to do it, because that's the hard tell, and that's all they need. But early on library, and now you can laser focus in on the few people it could have been, that puts Slappy in a commanding position.
That was a huge catch from Slappy, and he played it incredibly.
Yeah, you would need on a different map to make more aggressive decisions maybe, but on library, you can afford to just play it a little bit safe, and as long as you can narrow it down like that, you're still in pretty good position. This is a big moment, though.
There's the contact coming off. Still just racking up low lights, playing it patient.
The primary suspects were pretty much all in. I think one of them, Queen, might have faked, but the other ones were in conversation with at least an SDA. That actually went pretty darn well.
It did. Drawnonward, I think, still a little bit behind in this game. But he's still in there for sure.
It looks a little less hopeless than it did. That banana bread could not have gone much better, and it helps that Queen, one of the highlights, is fingerprinting potentially right now with a briefcase. Drawn basically immobile, though, really trying to sell the frame hard now. Very worried about that early white purloin. Obviously was hoping it would have been green.
Yeah, absolutely.
And by hoping, obviously, you pretty much always hope it's green. What I mean is, did it with the intent of hitting the green because he thought it would have been possible to see, not the kind of decision you would have made knowing it was going to be white.
So, Drawnonward playing this as slow as he can. Basically leaving it up to SlappyDavis to figure out how he wants to move forward here. How patient can Slappy be? Minute and 45 still left on the clock, and Drawnonward is not moving.
Yeah, and how patient can Drawn be? Just sitting there. I understand wanting to just sort of lay low, but it's almost conspicuous how little you're moving. This is library, this isn't balcony, where an AI might semi-regularly just kind of stay in the same place.
Here he goes now. Not great.
No, I think he's trying to create little bumping opportunities to shed suspicion.
Yeah.
But it was more just like a quick deflection, and then he turned around the direction.
1 minute and 5 left on the clock. SlappyDavis playing things real careful now. Has the party very well narrowed down.
Oh, Queen's helping, though.
She is.
A little bit. It's not center. If that were center, Drawn might be about to win this game, but since it's not, I don't think that's going to get it done. Unless she puts it down and waits for a couple of big seconds and he's worried about a body block. I don't think that's going to happen, but that's possible.
It is indeed.
Time
oh, ad. Caught on the time ad.
There it is.
Slappy played it exactly as patiently as he had to.
Yeah, that was just let them come to you. I don't necessarily hate the decision from Drawn. I just don't think he got a lot of help from the other suspects after that. I think if Queen goes to center statue, that is a very interesting decision for Slappy. But I think those highlights were just playing it safe. I really think he was probably on Drawn in particular, or at least a couple of them more than he was Queen, because he didn't seem terribly interested in that statue visit at the end.
That was a really well-played game for Slappy.
I think so. It was just very disciplined. Let it come to you. Again, you don't need to make the aggressive decisions early on. You get down to 4 or 5 early, and the odds that one of them who's not the spy is going to act like the spy enough to complete all the missions with you watching a small group of people so closely, pretty slim.
All right. So now, once again, Drawn is trying to tie things up at the end of a doubled map on the sniper side. SlappyDavis on the spy looking for a lead. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
It's funny, this might not have been Drawn's pick, and you wouldn't think it would fit his playstyle, but the old art equivalent of Library Panopticon, Drawn had 2 mission wins on that last season. One of them against me, by the way.
Yeah.
He's actually pretty good at it, even though you wouldn't guess based on everything else you know about his playstyle. But it's because of the reason I mentioned. He has very good time management, makes steady progress, and that is a very underrated skill on big maps like this.
Slappy with that first flirt, 33%, which is just fine. Bit of weird pathing on the way in, and this is not going to be a great flirt. White test, 54. You're going to need a fairly snuggly green for a 3 flirt on this.
What's he going to do? Is he just going to kill time in this far conversation? Interesting. So does he want to go to statues? Is that what it is? The Amba follows, though.
Oh, this could be beautiful.
Oh, wow. Nope, doesn't want any part of it.
Capitalize on it, unfortunately. Stepping back in for flirt? No.
What is this? Now, look, Slappy does not... He slow plays. I mentioned he doesn't time out often. That's because if he slow plays and doesn't get someone else shot, he'll rush missions at the end, and either he'll get a civilian shot or he'll be obvious and get shot. It's one or the other. But actually, slow playing like this in the beginning of the game, this is the norm for Slappy.
This is true.
If anything, he's been more aggressive than usual this set.
2 minutes and 15 left to play. There's a time ad coming off.
And that's part of it, absolutely. Time ads. Try to get in someone's head. Oh, dear.
Yeah. It was off camera. We're fine.
We're good.
Fine. We're fine. It's fine. It's okay. It's fine. 2 minutes and 40 as we pick up our next... Oh, he does hit that green, though. He does. Gets that flirt finished in 3. But
and it might not seem like a big deal.
Progress.
Yeah, it might not seem like a big deal, but if he does want to finish late, and if he doesn't get someone else shot, that is probably what he's going to try to do. Having 1 or 2 things out of the way will make that much more viable.
Now down to 2 minutes and 10. No progress other than the flirt being finished.
So with games like this, the kind of games that Slappy likes to play, it's less about what he's doing, at least until the last minute and a half. It's more about what the sniper's doing. Are they losing control of the party? That's what's going to determine whether or not he gets a civilian shot.
Drawn has a good number of lowlights, a very small number of highlights, although Slappy isn't one of them. And Slappy with only the one inspect the side statue. That surprises me. I thought he was gonna setting up for some inspect swappage at the end, but no, only the one inspect.
Well, here, not only that, the one inspect, and it wasn't the statue he picked up, which means literally he can't complete inspects on that side in one more visit.
Yeah.
He has to complete inspects on the other side.
That's
He inspected
weird.
Yeah, it's very weird. He's really not giving himself an option.
There's the contact coming off.
And he leaves shortly after.
No lowlights.
That redirect, is that going to get Drawn's attention? Pretty decent little, Yeah,
It does!
I was wondering about that. That is such a thing that Drawn loves the lowlight for. It's not so much the bounce. It wasn't that there was a crazy good pathing bounce. It was just, if you're the spy, why would you head in a direction and then immediately say never mind with a bounce?
Yeah, Slappy's done a few of those this game, fishing for something like that.
He knows.
Got it.
Yeah, he knows Drawn. He knows that that's the kind of thing that might get him low. The question is, though, why do it unless you're going to complete missions after? You got to bank on the low light.
That bug, no!
Off screen.
It wasn't pretty. It really, really wasn't pretty, but it didn't have to be.
Still going to have to. Is he going to inspect swap here at the end on the far side? It's going to work, I think, with the low light.
That's the plan.
I don't know, though.
It might be overtime. I think it is going to be.
That could get him shot even with the low light. The fact that he's swapping.
Indeed. 5 seconds.
Oh, I don't know about
3
that.
seconds. 2 seconds. It's going to be 8 seconds of overtime. Shot comes off on Irish. And ladies and gentlemen, SlappyDavis has a lead heading out of the doubled maps.
I think he talked himself into the idea that Irish was flirting with Seek, who was the seduction target, by the way, just not Irish's. Talked himself into the idea that she was flirting at that window at the very end. I actually think Slappy should have been a little more aggressive after the possible low light path. I think he took a little too long to go to those far statues, and it almost cost him.
I agree. Good shot to take for Drawnonward, I think. If you're going to take a shot in overtime, that's not a bad choice to make.
No, it's not. At that point, he really needs his lowlights to be more fluid, like you were talking about earlier. Yeah. What we've seen in the set, actually, is that the lowlights so far have not been that fluid. They've actually held really well. Slappy has done some very obvious things as a lowlight and still not been brought back up for them, which basically means that, at least in these cases, and I understand on library it might be necessary, in these cases, he's not necessarily watching the lowlight mostly.
Chris Hecker talking about how cool a game that was. Man, you haven't been around for the rest of this cast. This has been an insane night.
No, when he says that was an awesome game, he means Spy Party. This looks like an awesome game, says the developer of Spy Party.
This is true. All right.
Not wrong.
Let's step into the next one. Slappy leading 5-3 going in to Courtyard, practically Drawnonward's home turf outside of balcony. Let's see if he can make it work on the spy side in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
I don't remember the numbers, but Drawn has suggested at times that he's maybe played half his games or 7,000 of his 20,000 games or something crazy high on this one map on Courtyard.
It's an insane amount. Back when he used to play like streaming every night of Spy Party, it was always 30 games, 10 on Ballroom, 10 on Courtyard, 10 on Balcony.
Yep. And then at a certain point, when he and I started playing long sets together, it was just 20 games of Courtyard every time.
Yeah, this is true. Purloin! In the middle of the game, List is in a bush.
And he's already been to statues, so the banana bread is...
No, look at another take.
I think he's got it.
Yeah, I think after seeing that low light, Slappy knows.
I think banana bread, boom. Or bam, if you will. I think that's going to end it.
I agree. There's the contact, and there's the immediate bullet. And now SlappyDavis is one game away from closing this out. Drawnonward needs 3 in a row in order to force a draw. It's not insurmountable, but it's tough.
No, and he's just playing really well right now. He's really cleaned it up. That last Slappy Spy win in particular was just vintage Slappy. in a really good position now.
All right. SlappyDavis on the spy side, fighting for a win. Drawnonward on the sniper, fighting for survival. In 3, 2, 1, playing it. Ooh, that's a friendly seduction target, and capitalizing with the close green, 51% off the top.
I'd like to thank Hummus for circling the white purloin on Courtyard, which is otherwise not very visible. Ladies and gentlemen, your LO illustrator.
Because of the high sniper angle on this map, it is so easy to see Toby's tray. Which makes purloins very difficult to get away with.
And it makes it that much more embarrassing when the spy does. Which they do sometimes.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Looks like we're just sitting here for a timer flirt. Gonna see if we can finish it up in 2 without moving. The reverse drive-by bug as the ambassador comes around! SlappyDavis! He does it again! And the 2 flirt as well!
It wasn't just when the ambassador came around. It was as Drawn was rotating near the other side, I believe. I think he got away with this pretty darn clean.
Oh my god. Slappy might put an end to the set here and now. We've got the hardtail done. We've got the seduce done. We haven't been to statues yet, but also we haven't even been highlight, and the hardtail's over with.
You do not want to be going to statues super late. You do not want to be finishing your missions late and give them a chance to make that Hail Mary shot I've mentioned a couple times tonight, which might have already happened once tonight even. Hurry up and finish this now while you're not suspicious.
Here's the statue visit before suspicion. 1:10 left to play. All we need now is the contact, and that's the set.
I don't think he's going to get shot for this.
I don't think so either. I think
he's
Slappy is super clean here. What a game!
Yeah,
a moment like that one bug can change the tides of a game. And Drawn, I think he knew he had to take a shot, but he couldn't find the right one. And SlappyDavis getting it done before the last map, 7-3.
And that's the game sense we talk about. You could make a pretty decent argument that literally no player in Spy Party has better game sense than Drawn. He has played so many freaking games. He knows when a game is about to end. So even when he shoots the wrong person, he knows he has to shoot very often. And he was right there. It was about to end. He did have to shoot. Unfortunately, it was the wrong person because he missed that bug.
God, let's have one more.
Yeah, let's take a look at that bug. All right.
Let's telestrate this a little bit, can we, please?
Oh no! All right. So art skills. All right. I'm just gonna I'm gonna do my John Madden voice, but I can't. So the ambassador is.
Drawn was zoomed in. He was zoomed in at the time.
Yeah. So here's what Drawn's looking at. He is zoomed in at
the list.
Yeah. So let's take a look at that bug. So here comes the ambassador around. I'm putting so much thought and care into the color. So the ambassador is coming around that direction like that. Oh man, this is so hard with my mouse. So let's try that again. Whoop. I know. I need a pen. So the ambassador is coming around this way. Slappy right here. Boom. Is going to just pop that just like that.
Yep.
So invisible.
Well,
technically, I think it is possible to see, but my God, like just the very end of the animation is all you catch as you're coming around.
It's particularly hard to see when you're busy zoomed in on the guest list instead, which is exactly what he was doing. Here's the real brutal part. He was zoomed in on the guest list while a cast member took it, because a cast member, I believe, can purloin. But that only makes sense if you've seen a reject before. The person right before the cast member to take it was Boots, who just took a drink. It was not a reject. So it could not have been a purloin. There was no fade to watch for even potentially, but he didn't realize that at the time. So he was not only zoomed in looking for a different hardtail, he was zoomed in looking for a different hardtail, which was not technically possible.
My God, what a night.
So here's something. So even if we take where Drawn's camera angle and we look and we turn over to the bug,
Right.
It's
still not that visible.
Like the barest of bare. Like it's like boom, right there. You can kind of see it. But man,
you basically
that
have to
is
be
a
watching
beautiful
for
bug.
the bug specifically.
For like, and not even just watching specifically, but just like zeroed in on that thing.
And you still probably
miss
worried
it.
about it.
I agree.
It's really hard to draw.
That was a great way to end out an insane night.
Indeed. All right. So that has been this week 2 of the Spy Party Competitive League. Thank you to my casters, Warning Track and Tobo. Either of you have anything you want to plug?
Thank you for Lieutenant Hummus for running the show, doing the spectating, doing the teleprompter business, getting the overlays going, and the
you're very welcome.
It was nice stuff.
Thank you very much. Do you all have any Twitters or Twitches or what Snapchat things, whatever the kids are on these days?
I draw the line at Snapchat personally. Look, everyone has to draw a line in the sand. There's a social media.
I know, and I have the tools where I can draw lots of lines. Lest you all forget. So the game has been the game continues to be Spy Party, which is available now on Steam for the wonderful price of $25, or on the website www.spyparty.com. I have been your host, Lieutenant Hummus. You can follow me on Twitch and Twitter, LT Hummus. On behalf of Taboshi and Warning Track and everyone involved in the Spy Party Competitive League, thank you all for watching. Also, Challenger folks, you will have your games very, very soon. I'm basically going to do that right after this. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you next weekend for the Week 3 broadcast. Good night, everyone.
Good night.